Hello everybody, my name is Mara. Welcome back to my channel. I have great news and also not so great news. The great news is the month of June, pretty sure these were all June releases, I have them in my possession. The bad news is Reckless that came out early this month, don't have her yet. So I don't want to talk about it, that's all I'm gonna say. Nobody tell me any spoilers from Reckless or you will be blocked. Thank you. Good news is that I have a few new releases from the last month that I'm going to be reading in this video. I kind of collected them. They were some of my most anticipated releases, so I figured I would put them in this video for you guys so that we can talk about my thoughts and opinions in real time. The first book that we're going to be starting with is from an auto-buy author of mine. I will say some of her books have been kind of not my favorite books. Some of the books have been higher up in rating. The first book that we're starting with is Allie Hazelwood's new release, Not in Love. When did this come out? June 11th. This book is following Rue and Eli. It is a science novel because we know that Allie Hazelwood loves like her STEM world. This is not within the same world as like the Love Hypothesis, Love Theoretically, Love on the Brain. This is a separate standalone book. It still has science in there, but it's not as prominent as a plot point, which is why I'm a little more excited to go into this one, because if you guys have seen my other reading vlogs, other reading wrap-ups where I talk about those books, I don't dislike the STEM novel. I'm not a science girl. I always hated science in high school, so reading that much about science is not my thing. I don't like that. I would prefer to see more romance in those books. I feel like it takes us a little bit to get there and to really have like that connection with the characters. I still enjoy them. All of that to say, this book is a little bit more, it's a little more character driven, I guess, than scientific plot. There are these two companies and Rue is in one of them and Eli's in the other, and Eli's company is trying to take over Rue's company. Between that, they end up meeting and realizing, oh my god, we actually met on a dating app. Nobody can know that we met on this dating app because obviously then there's gonna be conflict of interest. We had no idea there was gonna be this clash in business. There's like a forbidden secret romance that ends up kicking in. I have seen in the beginning of this book so far, hold on, let me find it. It says a little like dedication to the reader in the beginning. I want to drop in a quick note to let you guys know that Not in Love is a little different from the works I have published in the past. Rue and Eli have dealt with and still deal with trigger warnings. You check them out yourself because that's personal. It says they're eager to make a connection but are not sure how to go about it except through a physical relationship. The result is, I think, less of a rom-com and more of an erotic romance. So that's something that we haven't seen yet from Allie Hazelwood. Start with Not in Love and I will come back with updates for you guys as we are kicking in. Right out the gate, I will say I'm seeing where it is different than her other books, but I think I'm liking it for this reason. I'm liking the whole like sneaking around tension, not really wanting to tell each other what we think because we know that it's gonna affect the job. I feel like when you do lack of communication in a certain way, it can be done right in a way that I will enjoy it. If it's just like the simple, I don't feel like telling them, so therefore I'm not going to. If it's in the sense where like it's going to affect work, so we try to just brush it under the rug and act like there's nothing between us, I like that. I will say there's a lot of talk going on about like contracts and the whole like takeover that I was mentioning in the beginning, and that is kind of confusing. I feel like the way that some of the sciencey stuff is put into these books, not really done in the greatest way. I don't like science, I never did, but I'm also just like dumb to some of the stuff that they're talking about in these books because I'm not educated on that kind of stuff. And it's like very specific science things, very specific like business deals that I feel like aren't explained thoroughly, or they're explained too much that it's still confusing. So far, I really like the characters. I like the idea of the story. I like the plot. I like the pacing. I like the conflicts. But I will say, I feel like, again, some things are just under-explained or far too overly explained to where I'm confused about the side plots. But generally, I am enjoying this. I'm almost halfway through. I've just been sitting here reading in one sitting. Ooh, a playlist. Cruel Summer. Need. By Taylor Swift. That is unreleased. 7. Okay. by Taylor Swift, hello? This is me trying? What? Hold on. I am finished with the first book for this video. I will say, I did really enjoy it. Everything that I said before still stands. Like, I like all of that still throughout the book. But I will say, I feel like because the STEM novels are like such a prominent point in Allie Hazelwood's writing, only written 2 books that aren't science related. Listen, I love that for her. I love that that's like her niche. But I will say, if we're gonna keep writing in that element, we need to have something different be a third act conflict, because I feel like what always ends up killing the rating is the fact that every time I read the ending, I feel like I'm reading the same thing over and over and over again. And I've read 3 science novels by her now. I love the writing. I love the pacing of it. Like, I always end up really enjoying it until we get to the ending, and I feel like it's just a mirror of everything that she's written before. I just want to see something different. Like, I want there to be something that's like, oh my god, I did not expect this, like totally unpredictable. And I feel like I can kind of predict all of these endings. And like, mind you, it's romance, so 95% of the time, like, a romance is really easy to predict because it's not like a thriller or a mystery or anything where you have to like uncover things. But I feel like it could be amplified so much more if we just had bigger third act conflicts that weren't repeats of things we've seen before in her writing, if that makes sense, respectfully. But first book done. Next book that we're reading for this video, she's a thicker one. I think by me saying that, you guys probably know what this book is, and that is Love Unwritten. Ignore the Target sticker right smack dab on the front. June 18th, so a week after Not in Love. I have read so many of Lauren Asher's books, and I love them. The only series that I was not a fan of was the Dirty Air series. I gave the first 2 like really bad ratings, and I was like, I'm not gonna continue the series because I don't want to rip her apart. But that series was just not for me. Really thought it would be. I thought the F1 world would be cool. Didn't like the characters. I didn't like the guys in those books. Then we get to Dreamland Billionaires and Lakefront Billionaires. I love this world. Like, I love like Wisteria. I love how it all connects. I don't really know how they're billionaires in this tiny town, but whatever. But I am really excited to start this one. This is following Ellie and Raphael. Raphael's a single dad, and she is a songwriter, but also a like music tutor, music teacher / nanny for his son. Normally, I'm not a nanny, single dad romance kind of guy. First of all, I'm a woman, okay? I have heard that this one is a little bit different. It says we coexist without any issues until a vacation changes everything. So I guess they end up going on some sort of excursion, and one bed trope. I'm gonna start this because this is a longer one, and I want to get as much as I can finished today and then try to finish the rest of it tomorrow. We'll see. This cover is also just so freaking cute. Are you kidding me? Oh, they go to Hawaii. Okay, cool. I'll check back in a little bit. All right, it is the next day. First of all, I'm loving Love Unwritten. I feel like I normally have a hard time with romances with children in it because I feel like they don't really have a relationship with the character that's coming in. Like, I feel like it's hard to see the development of that character and like the relationship, because a lot of the romances that I've read with there being like a single parent or a nanny, it's always like 2 years old or under. So it's like every 2-year-old is going to like whoever you bring in. In this book, he's 8, I think. Actually has like a relationship with Ellie. Like, granted, that started because she was teaching him music and things like that, but then like she started nannying for them as well and being a live-in nanny, so he spent more time with her. And like at that point, he's 8 years old. He can like develop his own friendships and relationships with people, and he has the mental capacity to like actually have conversation with somebody, you know what I mean? So I feel like in this book it's a lot sweeter. And then Nico also has trouble with his eyesight. The trust that he builds with Ellie over that is so sweet and like endearing. I just think he's adorable and I love him. Point of what I'm saying is that I'm really enjoying this book. I am almost finished. I've been reading for hours on end, just kicking my feet giggling. Let me see if I can find any quotes that really stand out to me. The only thing is that pacing in the Lakefront Billionaire series, since they're so much longer than any of her other books, it ends up being like kind of slow in the beginning. You're getting to know everybody, getting like the basis of it all. And then towards the middle, it starts to speed up a lot. And then at the point where I'm at right now, I'm like 70% through, and now it just feels like it's slowing down a lot, which is kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, it's like, what else can you put in right now other than like the happy moments before a conflict? I'd willingly choose to repeat every single moment so long as it may end with me spending forever in his arms. Okay, girl. Also, the conflict in this book, I thoroughly enjoy. I feel like there's multiple, but I feel like we're getting through them in a positive way, which is also nice because I feel like going in circles in conflict in a book is just so tiring, and I'm like, this isn't fun. Reading anymore is not fun. I feel like I am actually taxing my mentality on this. Like, this is ridiculous. The development of like the tough exterior type character, the like softy sweetheart, I also love. And this quote, I brushed my hand through his damn hair and say, you're the one I was always meant to find. Huh? Girl, I can't. Like, I actually am upset. But I'm gonna finish and then I'll come back and give you guys an update and my final thoughts. I don't have my tripod, so we're just gonna try to balance this. We are 2 books finished and I only have 1 left. Very excited for her, but first we have to unpack everything that's going on here. I loved this book. It was so cute. Was it a 5-star? No. The pacing kind of threw me off a little bit. I felt like we were moving at a good speed until the ending, and then it was like brutally slow. And I was like, okay, we're gonna be here a minute. We're gonna be here a little bit longer than I want to. Like I said, I feel like I normally don't like when kids are in these books because it's always like they're trying to be too motivational, but it's like a 4-year-old brain, or it's just like goo goo gaga, and like, how are you developing a relationship when this child can't even speak? Like, how is there anything there? Because a child under the age of 4 is going to just like anybody that gives them any attention. That's how children work. At this point, because he is 8 years old, has feelings, has his own struggles, has things going on in his life, puts his trust into Ellie, also like having to navigate his relationship with his dad because he doesn't want to upset his dad with like things going on with Nico's eyesight. Like, he doesn't want to tell him that he's struggling because he knows that his dad is going through something. I felt like that self-awareness at 8 years old is valid, and especially when you're going through something like that, that stuff makes sense for him to be able to express. I felt like it made sense for the story, and I really like how he was incorporated. I think this is somewhere between a 4 and a 5-star, but it's not a 5. I'd say like 4, maybe a half, but I did thoroughly enjoy this book. Now I have to go grab our final read for this video, and then we're gonna be all done, which is crazy because I've just been sitting binge reading. Last book of this video, Leather and Lark. I am ready to sit and eat this up. Left, right, dinner, dessert, everything. Like, I read Butcher and Blackbird like 4 months ago. Loved it. It was so close to being a 5-star, and then when I found out that this was coming out, also, I was freaking out, okay? I was so excited for this. I love Brenda Weaver's writing. I love the concept of her books. I feel like they're so like odd and strange and twisted that you're just super invested because you're like, girl, how could we possibly do this? You know, the ice cream from the first book, girl, what made you think of that? And then apparently in this one, there's something with pizza. I'm like, I'm scared, but this is following Rowan's brother, Lachlan? They're Irish, okay? So he's a contract killer. He botches a job for his boss's client. He knows he'll never claw his way out of the underwear, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so the singer-songwriter Lark, who's friends with Sloane, something happens with like her family's business, and basically they're getting targeted. She ends up having to fake marry Lachlan. It protects her and her family until they can like figure out how to go about the issue happening, if that makes sense. She's also a killer, but she kills groomers, men who groom women. Yeah, you get them, queen. I was reading this, like reading reviews, and which I shouldn't have done, but nothing spoiled it, so it's fine. And luckily, like, the reviews were good. But I feel like I'm going to devour this. I feel like I'm going to love her character. I'm so excited. So let's sit down, get into this dark romance. Reading like dark romance mixed with rom-com, like, it sounds so weird to have this be all together, but I love it and I love her brain works. So let's get reading. So far, we've really only seen what I've shared in the beginning, like things that I've found from reading the back of this book, as well as like what other people have said about it. I, first of all, love their banter because they're supposed to be enemies because they meet a few years like in the past, something happens between them, and then like later on they like meet back up, they kiss, and then they realize who each other is. So they have that moment where it's like, well, you kissed me first, like, you're gross, I don't like you, and then they're like arguing over that. Like, their banter is so funny. So I'm genuinely really entertained. I don't know, I'm just really loving the vibe of Lark as well because she comes across very like glittery, sparkly exterior, like really happy, chirpy, super sweet, innocent, and then she goes and like kills these men who are bad people. It's giving Jennifer's Body, where she's like, I'm killing boys. I'm really enjoying this so far. I feel like this is gonna be a pretty good rating because the fake marriage is like really kicking into high speed, and it's really getting to like the that's my wife type stuff. I posted this on my TikTok already, like this is already everywhere. Oh, he calls her Duchess, girl. Okay, if you just don't want any quotes, skip through this. As her name was Lark Montague. The gun clicks as I release the safety, and she's my wife. No, please, you were meant to keep her safe, but you failed. And he's begging, blah, 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 blah. And then he begs, he begs, he begs. He says, I'll give you anything, just please don't hurt me. And then Lachlan says, that's not up to me. And then he says, Miss Montague, please. Kane, Lark says, Mrs. Kane. My husband brought me a present, and I'm dying to know what's inside. What about you? Like, they're crazy. I love them. I love nothing more than like a crazy psychotic couple. I don't know why. I don't know why. I have amazing news, and that is first of all that we are finished Leather and Lark. Second of all, she's a 5-star. And third of all, we've read all of the books that we needed to read for this video in a 2-day time frame. Let's talk about Leather and Lark, and then I'll dive into kind of the wrap up of this video. Where'd my phone go? Because I made notes for you guys. This is a 5-star. I gave Butcher and Blackbird like a 4.5, maybe a 4. The tropes in this book are like everything that I love. Touch her and I'll kill you. There's the glittery exterior of Lark, but she'll like kick ass if she has to. Loves that. The that's my wife, when it's a fake marriage. Girl, be so serious. Some people I know read books for vibes. Some of them read them to like thoroughly review them. That's not me. I read them for vibes, and this was so much fun. I had so much fun reading this. I could not put it down. I was listening to the playlist, making TikToks about it as I was reading it. I felt super immersed in the story because of everything that was drawing me in. I just had so much fun reading this, and I will highly, highly recommend this to anybody if you kind of like the weird, twisted romances. This is enemies to lovers, dark rom-com. I think it probably went 3-star with Not in Love. Still a good rating, just not my favorite book ever. Still really good, still recommend, but did it wow me? No. Love Unwritten, this wowed me. 4-star, roughly, around that range. Leather and Lark is a 5, and I stand by that statement. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys when I see you. Hopefully soon. Hopefully you come back. I'll see you.